We were on
Eric's getting vindicated. We are getting vindicated. This is a good. This
is a vindicative reaction.
Yes. Utmost catharsis.
What's going on, Reject Nation? It's the day after filming the Wandavision episode 7 reaction, so you know what that means. It's time to check out Senpai Eric from New Rockstars. See all his Easter eggs and breakdown and everything that we got wrong so he can correct us on it. It was a cicada!
Ah, cicadas!
Did Nexus mean the Nexus being portals and multiverse stuff, or did it mean the Age of Ultron reference? What was it? Let's check this out. And by the way, I see you, Eric, you're wearing the Vision shirt that I ordered too a few weeks ago. I want my
favorite.
This time next week, should be wearing that shirt. Hopefully if it arrives. I just want it to arrive at least before the finale.
You are naked to me right now.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of WandaVision Episode 7, which, spoiler warning, confirms Agnes as the witch Agatha Harkness in a basement dungeon that I wish this blue dungeon was. Give me a Baphomet yak head any day of the week, and I'll yak your ear off about it. Look, there is so much hidden in this episode.
He even knows what that's called.
It's time for another shot breakdown of
Eric knows his Satanism.
And scare you just a little bit. Let's get started. Okay, you may have noticed how each episode, the way Wanda says previously on WandaVision, gets progressively less and less cheerful.
I knew we should have listened to the recap.
Previously on WandaVision. Previously on WandaVision.
I thought I was insane.
Previously on WandaVision. Previously on WandaVision.
Reflecting her
funny.
worsening mental state as this fourth wall illusion collapses around her. The jig is up, folks. The fourth wall is broken, and now Agatha takes control.
I gotta say, it's so cool to have a series where there's even a little hints and a story being told within the recaps themselves. Now we have to make sure we are not solely talking over it and trying to do Evan Peters' impression.
Because in Phase 5, they're actually going to start throwing us off in the recap.
Reframing this hex as her own show. Agatha all along. Wanda's cover
Careful.
has a pattern.
We got
match.
blocked for doing
Placed
that.
it hexagonal, so is Vision's
Yep.
pillowcase, but
I was thinking that
he's
too.
not there. Wanda's pillowcase in hexagonal, maybe reflecting that she is not really part of this hex, but in her shame, she chooses to blanket herself in the hex to try to escape her reality. The boys remotes
I like
glitch
that.
back into
It's a cool
GameCube
metaphor.
controllers and then to Atari joysticks and then Uno cards.
some respect
now
on
Uno
that
was a game
GameCube.
played by a young Monica Rambeau with her Skrull friend in Captain Marvel, a relationship I believe we might be revisiting. Now listen to the radio as Wanda makes cereal.
Your little ghosts arrived. Okay.
Radio station WND.
Wow, how'd
you hear that?
How did you enhance that audio?
You little ghosts. Maybe another clue pointing to the theory I pitched last week that the children who just showed up in Westview could be the souls of dead children. Maybe the children who Agatha
So metal.
killed over the years. Or one of those kids could be reflected on this milk carton as it glitches, now showing a missing child photo. Now this is after the milk just warped from almond milk to vitamin D milk. In other words, something vegan to the milk with the most fat in it. Now, I'm not saying they're eating babies. Oh yeah, I kind of am, because clearly this hex is for the children.
Could that really
for
be a
Agatha
clue?
to consume their life force.
I did bite a kid once.
Now, Wanda cereal has
Oh,
a circus
shit.
theme with a clown on it and a circus tent maze on the back, which is just like the circus theme Wanda's expansion turned Sword Camp into.
Wanda
Similarly,
likes the
Vision and
circus.
Darcy kind of get lost in a maze trying to get away from this circus back to the heart of Westview. Now, these opening
Oh,
credits are a fusion
clever.
of 3 modern sitcoms: the piano music based on The Office,
See, it wasn't only The Office, it's just one thing.
Yeah.
The Office was one thing.
the rapidly shifting titles based on the Happy Endings intro. Happy Endings was a show
That's
produced
what
by the
people
Russo
were
brothers,
freaking out
formerly done
about.
Marvel.
Oh!
I didn't know that,
Logo.
yeah.
And all these home confession cams, handheld
Ah,
camera movement,
that's
based
cool.
on the modern family cinematography as well. Well, then these flashing titles
Oh,
are a bunch of
Russo
fun
brothers
details.
got a
The
shout
license
out
plate
there.
Number is 12/28/22, a nod to the birth date of the late great Stan Lee, December 28, 1922.
Dude,
Title
that's
is
awesome.
Wonderful, yeah.
Wanda, as in Wanda being synonymous for the word closed, the way she has closed herself off from the outside world. And there's another one
That's
straight up-
brilliant! Dude, there's so many little Easter eggs in here. That's brilliant.
Plus, we're Wanda. Everyone's under her spell.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Way to add.
I'm adding to Eric.
The Russo brothers get a little shout out there with their happy endings produced. I saw happy endings trending, and now I get why now. But also to get the Stan Lee shout out because he probably couldn't do a cameo. Oh, that's so
really
clever.
nice way to do that.
I love that. Sorry, we're Wanda. Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant. I think it does probably tie in more to the close because so much of this is about repression.
Yeah.
And not dealing with her stuff and not letting people in. Yeah, it makes sense.
And there's another one in straight up kidnapper letters. I know what you are doing.
The Riddler!
Very I like the idea that this could be coming from Agatha, shaming Wanda into closing herself off, leaving her kids vulnerable for numbing. Now, another title shows us some fridge magnets with B and S visible in frame, as in this Westview sitcom is bullshit. And then from Hayward's new sword camp, the hex has expanded so you can see its top edges are also angled, not unlike, folks, a circus tent. Like the circus sword agents are now trapped in.
That's neat. That's so neat.
3D hexagonal prism. Like every angle you look at it, there's a hexagon, which shouldn't be possible. Like think about it, how do you link a bunch of planar hexagons in a way that they all fit neatly together? So this is a theoretical shape, like a tesseract, which in physics is actually a fourth dimensional hypercube that's really only capable of being seen by human eyes as a 3D cube, as this fourth dimensional prism passes through our 3D dimension. I bring all this up.
My head hurts!
This hyperhex could be a similarly trans-dimensional phenomenon, a hex from a dimension beyond our perception that passes through our 3D dimension and then warps the nature of the system within it. And I lost you. Look, if you really want to get creeped out, check out this agent when Hayward plans to probably nuke a New Jersey town.
Yeah, I feel very lucky. What's happening with the broadcast?
What the hell is that movement? It kind of looks reversed. Or scroll-versed. Now, over in the circus, Agent Monty is now the strong man. Darcy's an escape artist. I know some of the employees.
It could have just been a reaction shot, you know?
Now
like
everything is a clue.
The actor trying to give a little bit more depth to her performance.
Really
She doesn't have
built
much
up
to
a
do in this
character and core
episode, so
memories,
she's
she
like,
wants that to
what am I
shine.
thinking and feeling? I'm
Let me
just
get-
saying, you know,
make the most
sometimes
of
actors
this
like, oh,
one
what can I
piece of
get
coverage
right?
they're
That's what I'm
dedicating
just
to
saying,
me.
you know? Like, a little depth.
I know some of the employees wear jumpsuits with a circus-y version of the sword crest. Later, there's a booth for Fool the Guesser, which I feel
It's
like
kind of
is what
reminded me
this
of
show is
Arrested
trying to do
Development.
to us. Back
Yeah,
home,
that's a
the
good
weather
call.
shows sunny weather with a chance of clouds. Later, when Darcy drives, she comments how it never rains in Westview, yet it does on them. And this is right after the Nexus commercial in which dark rain clouds form. Billy asks about Uncle P, and Wanda says,
Don't believe anything that man said. He is not your uncle.
He's Mephisto.
Pietro.
And
Pisto?
notice how Wanda threateningly points the remote at these boys? They look shaken, as if Mommy might change them the way their game controllers were just warped. And then Agnes arrives, and she's wearing purple, which is the color of Agatha Harkness. We actually see Agatha Harkness's ornate purple dress and boots for a brief second at the end of the episode, but she has been rocking Agatha's brooch the whole time. And we've seen all the clues up until this point. Agnes is an amalgamation of Agatha Harkness.
I gotta say, Eric just must feel so good.
He must be vindicated, yeah.
Do you remember last week when I pointed out that tweet where he was like, it's the fifth? I mean, he was talking about Mephisto specifically, but you know, there was a lot going on that maybe this is all just nods. It's not actually gonna happen, but I bet it's like, yes!
All along.
Thank God!
They mocked me in the show itself, but I was right.
Pretty much every word of her mouth has been suspect.
The devil's in the details, Bev.
That's not the only place he is.
So Agatha, of course, is the witch who often accompanies Wanda in the comics. Now, she's not always evil. Most of the time, she's kind of
helped
neutral
Wanda.
or actually kind of a good guy. But in the West Coast Avengers run that WandaVision seems partly based on, Agatha gaslights Wanda into thinking she has kids who are actually pieces of Mephisto's soul, as Pietro called them last episode.
Unleash hell, demon spawn!
Demon spawn. Now here, Agnes says,
I think I got there in the nick of time, because she was one split end away from cutting her own bangs.
nick of time. And her rabbit is Senor Scratchy, which some think could be a nod
You
to
got
Agatha's
that.
son, Nicholas Scratch. And cutting her own bangs, Agnes
one.
might have been afraid Wanda is about to cut, aka erase her bangs. These things she got by, you know, banging. Am I reaching? Shut up. And Agnes says,
I do have a suspicious
I'll let
mole
you have
on
it.
my back that I just can't see.
see.
The mole thing. I heard this was a witchcraft thing related
Boundaries.
to this.
I get it. Say no more.
Someone in our comment
Moles,
boxes.
of course, are associated with witches. People thought it was a mark of the devil. But notice how the camera cuts away.
Wait,
right
did they
as Agnes
really?
lifts her top.
I mean,
Wanda's
witches
face
always
and
have, like,
Tommy's
a
face.
nose
They're
mole.
just weirded out by Agnes doing this. They are disgusted by whatever it is they see. I'm assuming there's some hideous festering mole under there. And Wanda says,
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
she has now become Mrs. Hart.
Stop it. Stop it.
Both of them channeling that scene in Get Out.
That's what I was doing.
The hex is the sunken place.
And kind of me when Joker says we live in a society.
Stop it.
No.
I'm fine.
No.
And by the way, if you want to support my insanity, you can check out all of our great merch options at NewRockstarsMerch.com. This is our latest Obsession shirt and Unusual Couple. It's a
how
way to
nice
support
it would be to be
directly.
wearing
Great
that
shirt.
right
okay,
now.
So Jimmy
Maria Hammond got her shirt. She just tweeted at me.
Oh, dude.
Where's my shirt, New Rockstars?
Eric's got one. Maria's got one. They're playing favorites.
Yeah, New Rockstars is playing favorites with Eric Voss
they're on
right now.
staff.
It's
You should
unbelievable.
be the last one with a shirt.
Okay, so Jimmy receives Darcy's cataract email. And if you look at his screen, Darcy ends this email with, "This is a decoy communique he sent to Vision's office." So that answers who sent Vision that email in episode 5. It was a ploy by Hayward to shake Vision out of the
The
trance.
answer
to try
was
to get him to
right
leave
there.
Westview so that Hayward could retrieve his sentient weapon. Monica meets up with the sword unit led by
How
Major
funny.
Goodner.
All right, let's see if he thinks this is a scroll. This might be the scroll girl.
So is Goodner the big mystery engineer? The past 2 episodes were setting up to be like a big deal that everyone thought was gonna be Reed Richards? Well, let's think about this. Goodner likely worked for SWORD's space program. I'm actually assuming these are the astronauts who didn't report back to Hayward, but instead of them just not having the nerve, maybe they just thought he was a dick undoing Maria Rambeau's legacy. And I have a suspicion that this unit is a SWORD division of Skrulls. Maybe the unit Fury is attached to on that space station.
Let's see if that
Goodner
comes
could
true.
be a grown-up version of Talos' daughter.
That would be
Monica's
cool.
Uno playing pal.
That would
Steering
be
clear of
cool.
Hayward because unlike Maria and Monica, he views aliens as threats. And they're not yet revealing themselves to Jimmy Woo because he brainstormed Skrulls as possible perpetrators of all this. But they could totally trust him. Just look at that.
He's a
smile he walked up
racist.
with. He probably begged us.
Damn it, Woo.
Coffee. He's the best. Now the tag number 9219R are probably for Rover. 9219 could be a nod to the year 1992, which would have been in the window of time Soren, her daughter, and the other Skrulls were hidden. in
Hey, I
Earth's
mean,
orbit.
if they are
Maybe
Skrulls, that's cool.
1989.
That's a cool nod.
Big happened in 1992. Maybe 1992 was the first year they built this rover. Darcy tells Vision,
Fine, I'll go out with you, but I'm ordering the lobster.
now remember, lobster was on the menu back in the first episode, so I like this little thing of Darcy being kind of a stan.
Hey, there's
She's
baked
the
lays
house,
in the
she might
background.
subconsciously still be
Oh,
shipping
Darcy-
herself with her
Darcy
sitcom
Food
dream.
Universe.
This Hula Girl could be a nod to the one in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Remember, Sky had one of these in those framework episodes. That was the event where Coulson ranted about the Hydra soap that we've talked about before. As the house glitches, the
So glad I
stork
just got
returns, and then Wanda says this to the confession cam.
I can't fix it.
Do you think maybe this is what you deserve?
What? You're not supposed to talk.
That sounds like Agatha's
Now, at
voice.
first, this reminded me of
like,
the moment in the
Pitch
office
Down.
Pitch
where
Down,
a
yeah.
member appears on screen for the first time, and everyone's like, "What the? They're actually committing to this format?"
Oh, it was
Modern
him.
Family
Oh, that
just
dude from
pretended like
Entourage.
there's no reason for a documentary, which kind of made it creepy.
Silicon
like Cameron
Valley.
would be filming
Silicon Valley,
yeah,
Entourage.
hooking up in weird role-playing scenarios. Ugh. Now, this is my favorite detail episode. Later, the Agatha All Along sequence revealed Agatha to be the one behind the camera. Agatha, probably the director of this show. But this male voice here is actually Catherine Hahn's voice.
Ah, we got it. We got it.
I think
Hell yeah.
We didn't say that in the reaction, damn
you
it.
think maybe this is what you deserve?
Next, this commercial for Nexus
Okay.
antidepressants, and holy shit, my theory was right. Roll that clip, John. Do not be surprised if this next commercial in the Modern Family era is a stereotypical pharmaceutical ad. Medication for anxiety, depression. Folks, this doesn't always happen. And if Mephisto ain't in this show, this might be the only vindication I get. Anyway, Nexus, the reality of your choice, the world revolving
Listening
around
to
you.
it.
Yeah, these are all references to Wanda Maximoff being a Nexus being in Marvel
Okay,
lore.
we
An
got
individual
it.
who exists separate from any one reality or timeline. This is how Wanda was able to flip reality.
Feels good when we get something right because there's always so many comments that are like, "You're not right about that, guys."
There's like 5 other contexts for that.
Yeah, because we were like, "Oh, the Nexus, it might mean Age of Ultron," and then it could have. But I was like, "Well, maybe in Age of Ultron, they named it Nexus in reference, like that was the reference to the Nexus beings and all that,
The Nexus
because
of all reality,
because Wanda was being introduced in there and all that. Here, I was like, no, it's probably a direct connection this time, as opposed to a reference. Yeah. Anyway.
The multiverse!
Just wanted to pause the video and be like, oh my god, there's something we are on.
Eric's getting vindicated. We are getting vindicated. This is a good
a vindicative reaction?
Yes. Utmost catharsis.
These in House of M. And this tells us that this series is probably setting up the Marvel multiverse.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, you can see this bottle behind Ithmar there reads multi, probably for multivitamin, but the word multi's there, so this is a big deal. Even if Evan Peters Pietro is not Quicksilver from the Fox X-Men universe, clearly with this hex expanding and expanding, that could be one way reality's rewritten in a House of M way to create the multiverse, a crisis that they'll have to deal with in Loki and Spider-Man 3 and Multiverse of Madness. Bear in mind, characters like Jean Grey and Kang the Conqueror are also technically Nexus beings, so I think we'll get a much clearer definition of what exactly this means with the TVA and Loki.
I love how we're always talking about multiverse problems. Always with Spider-Man 3 and Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
But we never bring up Ant-Man 3. And I'm like, guys, it's probably going to play in some way with Ant. Why is everyone not taught? They say Nexus beings and Kang the Conqueror is a Nexus being. Come on.
Ant-Man 3.
Throw them in the conversation. I'm sure it's gonna count.
Look at that word, nexopromicide. That suffix side means something that kills, like spermicide. So this is 10.3% Nexus promoting killing, as in Wanda is using her Nexus status to reset reality to kill off 10.3% of people, no more mutants. Or you could read this as an active ingredient that kills off or reduces by 10.3% one's affinity to use the Nexus to chaotically rewrite reality, giving Wanda greater control over what would normally be super chaotic. I love the way this commercial is shot. This woman lays down in bed, but then they rebuild the set so that the bed is on a wall that she steps away from. So her reality was literally turned on its axis so that she can actively step forward from that depression sinkhole on a level plane. In the corner of the screen,
you know what I'm starting to wonder is if these people are her her parents.
The two actors, who are always in these same commercials.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a very interesting theory.
Because we deal so much with trauma, and granted, all the traumas have been like Marvel related things that we've explored, right?
Yeah.
I think we never explored her parents.
No.
And so I'm starting to wonder if like maybe these are the people who were her parents.
Yeah. And this woman's got a little bit of that reddish in her hair.
I mean, she kind of looks like Wanda at times.
Yeah,
like she looks like she could be someone who they hire to play Elizabeth Olsen's
and
mom.
With so much significance around all of these things, I feel like the casting could very easily not be just a useless detail there,
Or her father was a shark. Because it's the same actors every time, right?
in the corner of the screen, it reads, "See our ad in the Westview Gazette," a nod to the newspaper that keeps showing
This is my
up
favorite
ads
breakdown.
for appliances reflecting
It's my
vision,
favorite one.
appliance in Hayward's eyes. And the voiceover also says, "Ask your doctor," which could be a nod to Doctor Strange, being the doc who helps break Wanda's addiction to this reality warping in Multiverse of Madness. And it ends with this woman stepping to the right into this red glow, as if to say, "The way forward, little lady, is to take this Nexus med, become queen of your own reality warp, into a red tinted hex." And then Billy tells Agnes,
"You're quiet, Agnes. On the inside."
a signal that Billy, as a telepath deafened by all the noise in Westview, is unable to read Agatha's thoughts, nor the thoughts of the quiet Senor Scratchy. Actually, notice when called out, Agatha freezes her hand just over the rabbit, almost as if ready to activate him into a new form. And Agnes mentions Ralph.
Ralph says I sugarcoat things, but you try telling a 10-year-old that his mother is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Now, on the table before her are these violet flowers with leafy stems. These look like the flowers that are all over her yard. The leaves look like what Billy was just feeding to the rabbit, or it could have been spinach, or it could have been these leaves. My theory is that this plant is the Wundagore Everbloom.
Has Eric been dealing with some backlash lately?
Eric is on edge.
What's that? Has he been getting bombarded with questions lately, and has he been challenged on his theories?
When quarantine is over, I'll give you a massage. I feel like you need to loosen up. It's gonna be okay. It's okay, Eric.
Wundagore Everbloom, the plant that grows in Agatha Harkness's yard in the comics, that, once eaten, gives one visions of what life could be via feelings of pain. In the Tom King comics,
you
Sparky
just
the dog
justified
had
it
eaten this
really
plant,
well.
Absolutely.
And I believe Agatha killed Sparky for digging up this plant in her yard, and that she has been drugging Wanda with this plant all along. Think about it. The plant that she first brought her in episode 1,
it sounds great. It sounds great.
The dinner in episode 1, her booze in episode 2, the lavender spray in episode 5, and now in a medicinal form. Notice that Wanda pops pills. And what does Agnes do for her when she arrives? Brews her tea. I'm assuming some herbal tea.
Witch tea.
Herb. She even makes an herb out of herb. And why is she doing this? Well, the
Herb and
drugging
herb
keeps
with a
Wanda
burb.
in the fantasy so that Agatha can consume the life force of her children. Now, did Agnes actually gobble up these kids like the witch in the Hansel and Gretel story? No. They're probably locked up somewhere or part of some kind of ritual somewhere deep in that dungeon as they are being, reassumed into Mephisto, maybe drained of their energy. But like House of M, I think this is all going to end with Wanda not being able to hold on to these kids. Now, Monica activates a spectrometer
okay.
in
I'm
the
not that
robot
attached to
cockpit.
them at this point.
Measures radiation, and it's the same device Bruce Banner used to track the
Give it a
Tesseract
few
in the
more
Avengers.
episodes.
Put the spectrometers on the roof and calibrate them for gamma rays.
And Monica pushes herself through.
There's no way I'm going, baby. It's too dangerous.
Break down all the lines that were the subtitles on Disney Plus. Break them down, Eric.
This audio is from the Captain Marvel film. We actually heard this softly as Monica unblipped back in episode 4. Now in Captain Marvel, this is a scene where Carol and Maria and Fury were about to launch.
I can't leave Monica.
Mom, it's okay. I can stay with Grandma and Papa.
There's no way I'm going, baby. It's too dangerous.
Maybe I could fly up and meet you halfway.
Oh, only if you learn to glow like your Auntie Carol.
But I love the visuals of this. Monica's face stretches from itself, like in the movie Contact, when Jodie Foster has that interdimensional travel, and her face is here, but it's also
That's a
here.
better call
Scott
than the
Derrickson
Thing.
actually said this visual inspired Doctor Strange's trip through the multiverse, and I bring it up because that is essentially what is happening here. Monica
Contact
splits
changed
into
everything.
A spectrum of her various
Yay,
roles in her
Johnny.
life. The moment she unblips,
Yeah, John, you got more than I
do.
Everyone's vindicated today.
Geraldine. Think about it. This is kind of the order of her life priorities as she's progressing forward. Daughter first, and then starbound explorer, and then country-serving agent, and then maximum selflessness, even in defiance of her own country, a sacrificial empath just trying to talk an Avenger off a ledge. But then Monica pulls all of herself into one and then sticks a superhero landing. She actually does one later in this episode too. Her eyes are now glowing blue, and she sees the Westview anomaly in its true irradiated state, kind of like Neo see in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's what I. Dude, Eric, thank you.
We're gonna be weeping at the end of this video.
By sinking all of her past selves, all of her past stumbles, and all of her past arising. But I gotta say, this one looks way cooler.
That's way better.
And notice
Yeah,
how
that's
her
way
clothes
cooler.
match the color scheme and clothes of Photon in the comics. Dennis the mail.
Why did I put that together?
A rabbit logo on his hat. There is a Pixar short titled Presto about a rabbit feuding with his magician
That's a
on
great
stage
one.
during a show, similar to the way Senor Scratchy ran amok during Vision's magic show, something Agatha just revealed was her doing. So I
Disney
believe
owns all
Senor
this.
Scratchy is either Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch, and that might be who Evan Peters Pietro is. Think about it, rabbits are quick little speedsters. The other option is Senor Scratchy could be Old Scratch, Agatha's husband, Ralph. But I'm not gonna go as far to say that is the mailman. But the fact that he is wearing this rabbit logo means that he is, like all these things are, under Agatha's control. I'm wondering what is in those Brad G. Lay packages though. Maybe some supplies to help Agatha maintain this drugging. Now Agnes breaks up the heartfelt moment between Monica and Wanda.
Wanda,
Young lady, I think you overstayed your welcome. Run along, dear.
Young lady, dear. It's like little old lady colloquialisms.
Hey, dearie, why don't you take a Werther's? I'm missing NCIS.
Now, in Agnes's home, there are hexagon patterns on the cups, and then Yo Gabba Gabba on the TV. Listen to them. They're saying jump, jump, jump almost as if inviting Wanda to take the plunge into the basement. Now, some say you can see the chair move on its own behind Wanda as she turns to look at Senor Scratchy, but this is really a trick of the eye, folks. See, the camera starts in a pan and then curves around Wanda's face right as she turns her head.
No,
so you don't
no,
really
it's
notice
Professor
it
X
much.
rocking in his
So
chair.
it makes that chair behind
He's
her
rolling
look
in.
like it's just suddenly
Just out of
scooting
frame.
itself behind the wall, but it's just the way the camera's pointed. But then Wanda sees this
You know,
cicada.
other people reach too
cicadas are
sometimes.
said to symbolize immortality. These things sleep for like 17 years before they hatch. There could be a parallel here with Agatha, who might stay dormant for years and years and then re-emerge to make her move. Personally, I can't help but see this as a nod to the Silence of the Lambs, the moment Clarice Starling sees the moth in the home of Buffalo Bill, and that's how she realizes she is the killer
then goes down to the basement.
who is hiding horrors in the basement. And down there, Wanda finds
It should've
this
just been a fly.
dungeon, my heart's desire. Now, first notice how the aspect ratio widens, telling us that Wanda has left the Hex temporarily. This dungeon is in the real world. Now, in this place, folks, an animal head across the way. This is either a goat, a ram, I'm thinking, maybe a yak, something Baphomet-like.
Yeah.
Demonic faces are carved into the pillars above hexagons with golden symbols etched in. You can see more animal bones in a red-lit cabinet, a winged creature in another corner, and of course, the big one, this glowing book. Most likely, the Darkhold. The ancient marble Book of the Dead, created by Chthon, the demon who, in the comics, cursed Wanda Maximoff with her powers as a baby. The Darkhold appeared in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It had a different cover. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., unfortunately, is not really considered canon by Kevin Feige, so this is probably just gonna be a new
Coulson's
version of the
in
Darkhold.
there.
The symbol on it looks like it's like two keys joining together to open a central lock. Now, I have speculated this book could be from the Camartage Library, which would root Wanda's sorcery in Doctor Strange's Eldritch magic,
cool,
which
that's cool.
could explain its hexagonal geometric shape. Like many of the sorcerer's spells take these interesting angular geometric shapes. Now, some are saying this could be the Necronomicon, which was derived from the Darkhold. I think it's more likely to just be the Darkhold, and it's going to be used to justify all the supernatural elements in the MCU, like Blade. But here, this is likely the source of the hex that this witch is putting over Wanda, because folks, this is a satanic temple, and the witch who occupies it reveals herself.
The name's Agatha Harkness. Lovely to finally meet you, dear.
And then an amazing revised intro sequence revealing it was Agatha all along. Notice how Agatha starts by floating to the ground to help this domestic family, like Mary Poppins, who is a witch, don't forget that. And then the lyrics say she pulled every evil string. But it's interesting, it doesn't say anything about her creating this hex, it just makes her sound like she's meddling in the hex. But all this includes Senor Scratchy, Herb, Pietro killing Sparky. She lied to Vision, and it looks like it was to get him to leave and get him out of the picture so that she and Pietro could move in on those kids. This whole sequence, the music sounds like it's a Monsters theme, but notice the female vocals here are actually done by Catherine Hahn herself.
That's so cool. I love that.
Oh.
Yeah, I learned that this morning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Agatha picnicked as Pietro arrived. Perhaps that creepy appendage we saw in the mirror was her magic pulling him into the house. Now, Pietro also
I would
appeared
love for
in
that
the
arm thing to be
post-credits scene
justified.
of this episode, surprising Monica when she snoops into the basement.
Snooper's gonna snoop.
Now, you'll notice Monica's eyes glow
gonna
purple,
snoop.
but I don't think this means Agatha's magic has hold of her, because she still reacts cognitively to Pietro. She's not in a trance yet. I just think as Photon, her eyes illuminate to reveal energy that wouldn't normally be visible to the naked eye, like how they glowed blue earlier. But interesting here, notice Agnes's car has a Connecticut license plate, not a New Jersey one. Agnes did mention how her and Ralph's anniversary was June 2nd, the day the Salem witch trials began in 1692. Salem is in Massachusetts, but at that time, witch trials and executions were happening all over New England, including Connecticut. But as Monica peeks in through the door, look at the window to the right. A shadow moves, independent of Monica's reflection. This is something else inside. I'm thinking this could be Senor Scratchy turned into Pietro, and presto, darted over to Monica to catch her. Look, folks, I'm not gonna try to fool you. Agatha is clearly the villain of the show. Westview is her operation, but she's got associations with witchcraft, with dark magic, and there's still a very good chance she has a silent partner that we haven't met yet. And all signs are pointing to Mephisto. Not just the devil in the details, not
I
just
want you to
demon
win.
spawn.
I care more about you.
This
That's the
week,
biggest
suggesting
stakes of
there
this
is
show.
Still an unseen major cameo popping up.
There is one character has not been revealed, and it is very exciting. It's an actor that I've longed to work with all of my life.
And in the same interview, Paul Bettany seemed really coy about Mephisto in particular.
I can't speak to it right now because I'm worried about getting fired.
So as great as this Agatha reveal is, I think most of us did see it coming. So there is probably one deeper mystery left in the shadows. The darkest is yet to come. Hey, by the way, if you
Al Pacino!
How's the time? A giveaway. All you gotta do is subscribe to the channel Epic Hero Labs, and then head over to epicheroshop.com/giveaway for more ways to enter. You can continue this nerdy conversation on New Rockstar's official Discord server by becoming a patron at patreon.com/newrockstars. Follow me at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars for all your WandaVision questions. Thank you for watching and singing along with me. Who gets his theories 10.3% right? It was Eric Voss all along.
Hey, no, you gotta give yourself more credit,
You're
man.
at least at 15%.
Yo, you're way on to it, dude. I thought you killed it.
The game. And yeah,
we know we were able to latch on to so much more just because of you.
Yeah,
it's mainly because of it.
How these breakdowns have grown, and they almost, because of the show's lore, they have their own little lore of your theories coming true, and yeah.
I'm so heavily rooting for Mephisto just for you. I mean, the fact that we got this far with witchcraft and also with seeing all the satanic stuff in the room that she's in, like, well, looks like they're willing to bring in a little Mephisto. Disney, take the gamble and see if China down the road's gonna be willing to let some Satanism play into their Marvel theaters. You know?
I mean, so I guess to be fair, like in the lore, it's not literally hell; it's just another dimension. So maybe they can explain it through that technicality.
They could justify it in some way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch some of their lines.
Yeah. That's why they made that thing about the ghost children so low on the radio that none of us could even hear it.
Yes. And also, you know what this video really helped point out for me too? Is the handling of Monica Rambeau. How a lot of times when you go into, especially I remember like around the phase 2 era of things, guys, just focus on your movie. Why are we setting up this other character? Why are we trying to like jam some type of like little origin into this one movie? It can feel like too much and they should have just saved it for a different film or something like that. And with Monica Rambeau, they've been successfully pulling off the origins of Photon / Spectrum in here in a way that doesn't feel like too much. Like they're giving us her origin tale without shoving it in our face and making it feel like the show's about her, but it's all unfolding to where she can do her own thing down the road.
Yeah, like they've made a really nice thing out of that because there have been little things in these Easter egg videos even for us to go like, does she have her powers already?
Right,
and certainly looking at it here, it seemed like maybe a little bit, but they're certainly coming into bigger fruition because of this experience.
Yes. And I still think though that even if Quicksilver isn't Quicksilver necessarily, like if it isn't Evan Peters Pietro from the multiverse of the X-Men films, I would still say that what's cool about him being casted, if it is just like some stunt casting thing, is it goes to show that the X-Men movies, they didn't not matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the only reason that's
Bless you, the devil! Oh, he's gonna come inside of you! You're Mephisto!
The only reason that's so exciting is due to the fact that Evan Peters was in the X-Men films, and that's what it's playing on. And then when you're hearing about the other Spider-Man movies that are not MCU related, like Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, that's also saying like those did not matter either. In a way, it is cool that Feige, along with the team, are going, hey, maybe we're doing our own canon, and maybe this Evan Peters thing was just some fun stunt casting. But that's also to say that we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for those movies. You know, so I still think in a way it's honoring.
Yeah, definitely.
But I hope it is Evan Peters is Quicksilver.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, what did you think about this breakdown? I love the hell out of this one. This is a super entertaining one. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe. Click that notification bell. Check out more videos from New Rockstars. I post daily. Subscribe to us as well. Last but not least, JN Valente. JN. My dude, you know what? I just want to come from a sincere place today. I want to say thank you. You've been a part of our Patreon page for like the beginning that we started it.
Longest people around.
Even though like we might not hear from you for a long time, could be months on end, maybe you're not even watching our stuff, you still stay pledged. You are undoubtedly one of our most loyal patrons we've ever had, one of our most loyal supporters.
When I think of the ensemble of patronage, you're one of the names that comes
You're
directly to
one
mind.
at the top, man. So thank you so much for sticking through with us and always believing us and always showing your support. You're a weird, wacky guy, but you got a great heart.
Absolutely. Change not a thing.
Love you, buddy. Thank you.